You live in it. Alrighty. So
Ugh.
we're live. We'll wait till this gets up and rolling. There it goes. You know, I don't like that there. Yeah, let me put this over here. That's easier when it's
I'm refreshing. Oh, we're live.
Better be live.
Knock.
No, I don't need all that junk. Nope. No, I don't. No.
What's up, Internet?
Internet, what is up? We are here. We are live. We are recording. Episode 6. Game is out.
Woo!
Whew. Man, we were all playing so much we couldn't even record the podcast. Not necessarily true, but life happens. It is what it is. We're gonna go with that. That's why.
Right. We're here now.
Here, hold on.
Yeah, I guess we didn't do one last week.
No, we didn't. It's been 2 weeks, man. We were actually playing last week. That's what we had going on.
There you go.
So,
yeah.
A lot.
Yep.
Played a lot.
But yeah, so we are ready to roll here. So let's see. Without further ado, are you guys ready?
Music. Hit it.
Yeah, and yeah, this time, shh. What was it? Last time, Neil, you were like, would you say like,
I thought that was
get
cool.
it? It was cool. It was cool. And, except I think I edited out in the audio version. I had to like layer.
Did you do it?
Boo.
You know how I did it? I layered like the audio track that plays the music, and then had the actual intro music and like dipped it. Like right, so you couldn't hear Neil and just dipped it perfect.
I was gonna say I didn't know if you had like one track with like everything, or if you had it like.
No, it is one track.
Really
so as I'm recording
do
this,
it.
kind of like I don't know, off the cuff style right now. It's kind of weird how I'm doing it, but it is one big audio file. So anything that's there, I got to kind of play around with it. But
Nice.
I've been doing it for years, man. So I figured out
veteran.
where there's a will, there's a way. So. I mean, I remember even like going back like old Guardian Radio style and like recording like the Twitch clip and like, you know, just record literally like a 5-second audio or whatever that I lost on my end of the recording and like punch that out and punch that in and like just having to do all weird editing, just kind of get it to sound right. But yeah, it would work.
We're lucky to have you, Mark.
Yeah, I'm trying. So, all right, dudes, let's do this. I'm excited, man. This is a lot of fun stuff to talk about here for sure. And as people can tell here, so everybody here that's live, thank you guys here for tuning in live. I see a couple of you out there, which is awesome. Thank you for being here. Matt's not with us right now. He may show up at some point. So we'll have to just wait and see if he's able to make it here in time. But we are starting a little bit early, really, because we want to get done and get some games in tonight, possibly. And we'll stream those out if we can. So if you guys want to stick around for that afterwards, we'll be doing that too. But all right, you dudes ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's do it. Here we go. Rivals Assemble, episode 7. No, 6. Episode 6. Yeah, you know what time it is. That's right. It's time for Rivals Assemble, a Marvel Rivals podcast. And I am your host, Mark Turcott. And so glad each and every one of you are tuned in here to the podcast. You are tuned in to episode 6. And oh my goodness, guys, this is it. This is the one. This is the first episode with the game out. That's right. We are talking about the actual game itself, from the good, the bad, and yes, even the ugly of this game, although there's not much of that. So to do it all with me here, joining me first up, Neil. Neil, what's up, dude?
Hey, guys. Nice to see you again. Happy to be here. And man, I've been playing a lot of Rivals this week, and I have not been sleeping very much. It may be correlated.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. Yeah, it's kind of been my whole thing too. Is like, I always get up like bright and early in the morning to get my gaming in before work. And there's been a couple mornings this week where I'm just like, or when I go to bed at night, like, man, tomorrow I'll just sleep in a little bit. And then I'm just kind of laying there watching TV with my wife in bed. And I'm like, no, I'm still going to set that alarm just for a little bit early, because I can get a couple more games in and get some more dailies done and all that. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
You have a hard cutoff. You got to get to work, right?
I
My
do.
cutoff is whenever I go to sleep, which can vary.
Nice. And also to break it down with us this week, Ken's, what's up, dude?
Oh, yeah. Ready to get back in here. The game is out. It is new. It is crisp. It is fresh. And yeah, it's been good. No more beta. Here we
No
are.
more beta. Yeah, we're here, man, with the full roster, at least for season 0 here, which is great too. So you guys may notice too, Matt is not here with us this week. So he may be popping in here later on in the podcast. Hopefully he'll be able to get in here. We can seamlessly get him in. But we'll see kind of where that goes. But like I said, lots to talk about here on the show this week from we're going to just kind of give you our initial impressions of the game here, the new heroes, the maps, all the different things that are in there, the things we didn't even know about, such as the gallery, all that. Then we're going to get into some news with the recap of the Discord AMA, the Season 0 trailer, and even the patch notes. We had our first patch notes for the game. And because this is going to be more of a kind of roundtable type episode as we're kind of giving you our impressions, no Cerebro Files segment this week. However, we will be talking next week about Cloak and Dagger. So go get your Cloak and Dagger reading on, do your research, all that. And for my opinion, go play Cloak and Dagger in the game because they're really, really good. But we're going to get to that here in a little bit. But a little bit of housekeeping here as always. Don't forget, always follow us over on the X/Twitter or the Blue Sky at Rivals Assemble. You can watch the show live. We record it live on YouTube and Twitch at Rivals Assemble Pod. And of course, you can always email the show at rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. And big welcome to all our new audio listeners over on whatever platform you're listening to. I just saw a huge bump this week with the game coming out, which was obviously going to happen right when the game comes out. People reaching out looking for podcasts. So appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the show and tell your friends if you because like you can't always be playing the game all day all the time. So if you want to get your conversation on a ride to work, on your run, whatever it is, we're here to give it to you. We're here to talk about some Marvel Rivals in your ear holes every week. So guys, let's jump.
Violating.
I know it is a little violating, right? It is. But let's jump in here to our news segment that we call the Not So Daily Bugle News.
J. Jonah Jameson here.
All right. Well, obviously, the biggest news of anything for this game, of course, is the game is out. And like I said, I kind of wanted to do a little bit more of a roundtable type thing for this, kind of like what we did when if you go back and listen to our Origin episode, kind of last summer when the alpha came out, and just kind of give our initial impressions of the game. And so the one thing I kind of want to start with, and it's not even necessarily about the game, but can we just talk about the actual launch?
Yeah.
Like the 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific, servers went live. And the servers went live and people just got into this video game. Like, what was your guys' experience with it? Did you guys try to be there like immediately or what?
I was there a little later, but the one thing is it's not like there was just a couple people trying to get into this game. You know, it was like a massive, what was it? I don't remember the total number. It was a huge 100,000 number.
Dude, yeah, I think it was like
base.
333,000 like that, even in Steam
for
playing.
starting out. But I didn't get in until maybe an hour or two after launch, and completely seamless, like 2-second match times, and yeah, it was perfect.
It's wild. I actually go ahead, Neil.
They got that Disney money, right? They've got enough servers.
That
on.
NetEase money too.
NetEase money. They got everything. It's not their first rodeo, and I was very impressed. Actually, at first, I thought it was a new normal launch, where I was trying to get into the game on my PlayStation, had it all loaded up, ready to go. Okay, start. Excuse me, and wasn't working. Said start connecting. Wasn't working. Start connecting. And then I realized I was trying to play the beta version of it because it allowed me to download that instead of the other like full version. And so then I just had to sit around and wait for another download. But as soon as I did, I got in there and everything worked fine.
Yeah,
so.
it was running for you. Well, I was worried because like I originally planned I worked till 6. The plan was to go home and I was going to sign on at 7 just to quickly grab like my username Turks is what I wanted. And then like sign off and then get on later with you guys and play. And so my wife sends me a message and she's like, hey, we're going to go to Chick-fil-A for dinner. Like meet us at Chick-fil-A after work. And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, Okay, like I want to go to Chick-fil-A, but like the servers
Have you
maybe
not
messed
seen
up
the
and my
family
name's gonna be gone.
calendar?
So like I literally signed on it. It was like 7:05 or something was like the time that we finally got home. I rushed in the door and I just assumed, I'm like, you know what, I'm never gonna get in. There's probably gonna be a huge queue of people waiting. I'm gonna have to queue up and wait like 30 minutes. Servers aren't gonna be handling this. No, just logged right in, got the server name. We even created our faction on PC. What is it? RVLSA SSEMBL. I think we did it. Just
However you spell symbol, yeah.
yeah. And we just got it. And I was like, okay. And then I think I like played a match, went around the practice arena and was like, all right, well, we're just doing this. And then the only issue I had was, and they did actually put this up on kind of like a server-wide message, which was kind of cool to see in a game like this, was you could not buy the currency on Steam. And so, because I wanted to buy the Battle Pass like right away, and you couldn't do that for the first, I don't know, a little bit. It took about 30 minutes or so before I was able to do it. But that was really it. I didn't see anything else. I didn't see people disconnecting. Like you said, Ken's, like literally within seconds, you were finding a match. And it's even still that way. Like when you queue it up, boom, or when you finish a match and you hit one more round, like it's almost
I would even complain that it's a little too fast because I want, like, I didn't the first little bit that we played, I didn't get to look at any of the menus or anything. It was just like play, game. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like,
I need to be able to check my phone, Netties. I can't even look at my phone.
I couldn't look at the skins or anything. It was just
Or any of the match information, like the scoreboard. From you can't choose who to blame on that loss.
Right back into
next game.
Or give the thumbs up, like all that. You can't even do it. Like it's just immediate gratification to get into this game, which I'm sure is intentional, but like is just indicative of how many people are playing this game. I think what the number came out was, it 48 hours. It was 10 million people, I think was the number.
That's
granted, free to play game, but incredible. Like they are just crushing it. And you know, the crazy part about it is I want to say, like, it's not surprising because it's like you have almost a perfect storm, and that's kind of what even drew me to this game, and I even kind of drew you guys to it. It's like, we're into hero shooters, like it's a free to play game, so the barrier to entry is nothing essentially, and it's Marvel. So it's like it's a no-brainer even for people just to try it out. And I personally have not seen like a lot of negative content out there at all. Like everything I see is just positive. Sure, you're starting to see the little feedback of certain heroes and that people don't like, and we're going to get to some discussion later of like roll queue and the seasonal boosts and buffs and all that stuff. And we'll talk about that then. But other than that, the overall like consensus seems to be like they're on the right track. Like they're really doing the right things and have made this game something that people just want to play because it's freaking fun. Like it's just tons of fun. I don't know.
It's a great game, and it's, I don't know, a bit more acceptable than people jumping into the latest Call of Duty, super violent kind of thing too. So I think it's got a wider audience that, like, I wouldn't mind, my kids watching me play this game compared to, some of the other stuff that's out there. So there's probably a lot of parents letting their younger kids play it, and like, that's the way it goes.
Yeah. It's just really familiar.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great way to describe it as familiar. But let's jump into, I guess, just kind of the game itself and more specifically the heroes. Let's talk about the heroes because we have 10 new heroes. I'll throw one to you, Ken. Bring up a hero who of the new heroes that you've played or kind of checked out. Like, who's kind of appealed to you?
Of one that I had not played in the beta, probably my favorite that I've played so far is Moon Knight. And I think I was surprised because I expected him to be really complicated. And he's not. I think he's actually one of the easier, one of the easier damage players to play as, because you just throw that onk on the ground and then you're just like, you just auto aim.
Exactly.
And then you can easily get away. There's that, I don't know if you guys have seen the little trick that you can do where you grapple the ground.
And shoot up,
just throws you up.
Yeah, so his grapple
escape.
is really slow, and you can grapple to anything, and it gives him this little boost, and he shoots up in the air. But if you just like shoot your feet, he'll just like little bunny hop in the air, and then you can double jump after that, and
then glide out.
And so he's really fun. So I've played a lot of Thor, but Thor's who I've played the most of, but played him in the beta. So
Moon Knight. I actually had I think got an MVP in a match. It was on one of the Hydra maps, and we basically spawn camped the team, and it was just I had like 2 Ankhs that were just both there,
what do you
and it was
do?
just like there's literally nothing they could do. Like they just tried to walk out of the room, insta melted, like nothing they could do. And then I had another one too that was great. I had a storm. It was the Yggdrasil map, maybe like the payload map. Kind of when you get inside that area, like the final stage of it, in the little like cave area, if you want to call it.
It's dark.
And she was up in the air, and I put it because you can place that. It doesn't have to go down. You can actually have it on walls.
Yeah, they stick to stuff.
And then it just, she's up in the air, but it was just like pinging her because she was like kind of within the area of it. And I'm like, this is great. Like I just shoot the Ankh up there, and then I was kind of around the corner, but had sight, line of sight to the Ankh, and then it was just she was done. So yeah, Moon Knight is awesome, man. He's a lot of fun. He's, I think, one of the first newer characters I gravitated towards. It was him and then Winter Soldier, who I actually really
yes,
liked as
I
well.
did
Like,
play a lot of Winter Soldier too.
he is awesome, dude. Like just keep that blast. And one thing with him too I love is right now I'm sure a lot of people are getting harassed by Iron Fists and like Spider-Man. Like when they jump on you, they're right there. But with him, he does more damage with his gun the closer they are, because it is a shotgun, but it still does have some decent range. Well, I guess it's not a shotgun, but it does have
It's got pretty good range.
has good range. But
Like a revolver, it seems like.
right, yeah. But it does do more damage closer. But he has that like uppercut, and so when they come in, if you just like quickly uppercut them, if you have your bionic arm blast, hit that, and then do like 1 or 2 shots, they're dead like immediately. So, it takes them out fast. But Neil, who do you got?
Well, I haven't tried either of those. Well, I did a little bit of Moon Knight. That was fun. But thinking of just the new heroes I haven't played yet, flipping through Captain America, I started playing him a little bit yesterday and the day before, getting into what I needed to do, because he has so many different abilities and how to make it. I go into the practice range and just like figured out, okay, you get 2 melee hits, then you start throwing your shield. You can how to get the run to kind of work, because you run and jump and do your shield bash.
Yep.
It's just a lot when you're trying to actually win the
I
game.
still don't know how to play Captain America.
Yeah.
I've tried it so many times.
Love him. He's so good.
I don't get it.
If
Doesn't
you have
work
good
for my
heals, he's great.
Yeah.
And like basically his run, you have to just turn it on and like keep it on. Like you turn it on and off. And so when it's on, if you go forward, he's running forward. And then half the time I'm just jumping as him. And then everyone, when the like ground smash is on cooldown, like then you'll see the circle on the ground and you just slam down in, usually hit, punch, throw your shield, and then just pop your shield up and kind of start backing out. And your healers hopefully will be healing you. And you're just kind of harassing. You're not really looking to get kills with him. He's just more kind of like almost like a dive tank, I guess. But if you can team up, and I remember that first night we did it, Neil, team up with a Thor and Cap, and then you get that extra ability to toss your shield. I think it's like 3 or 4 times. That's great, because his shield,
It's even more than that, I think.
his regular shield throw is on a pretty long cooldown, so you don't get that often. It's like a 10 or 15 second cooldown. So having Thor with you gives you more shields to throw, and
it's like a 20 second cooldown for that. But the way it works, though, if you get 2 melee hits, you start throwing your shield. Your basic attacks become shield throws as well.
It does,
or
but
about 4.
But see, the thing
of
with
them.
that for me is always like half the time I'm in somebody's face, so it doesn't really matter. Like I'm already there, like punching them in the face. So it's but he has the straight up ability to throw the shield. That's like
which is nice, because you throw that, you don't even have to throw it at a person. You throw it at the ground or you throw it at the wall, and then it bounces to somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Which feels great. So I enjoyed him a little bit. And then the other one was Cloak and Dagger. Always needing to be a healer. And I know, Mark, you've been playing and might be your favorite hero, but I really enjoyed them as well.
So good, dude. The switching back and forth. And of course, I had to buy the skin. I got the Growth and Decay skin. It's just so badass. But I love the back and forth. And I mean, the cool thing is they have this. If you haven't played them yet, you obviously switch back and forth between them, but you have this wall that you cast out. And so when your dagger, the wall heals and it pushes forward, and then when your cloak, it pushes forward as well, but it damages. But they're both on separate cooldowns, so you can like be her, heal, and then when you see an enemy kind of getting close, quickly switch over, cast his out, and then switch right back. His attack is like Scarlet Witch, so it kind of locks on and just like slowly ticks away. And then as dagger, your regular just auto attack, if you want to say, does damage to enemies, but then heals your allies. So you're just constantly tossing these light daggers out. Plus she has a healing bubble that you put down. So like on the payload, you can just like drop this bubble, or if there's a big team fight, drop it. And then their ultimate is just great, where you kind of like go around and like leave like 3 different areas of this mist behind
Streams.
you.
Yeah. That's just a damaging thing though, right?
But it heals too. It heals your team.
Oh, does it?
Yes. So team fights, again, drop the bubble, pop your ult. I mean, you're just keeping your team alive. And then the other cool thing is Cloak. You hit a button and he like, envelops himself in darkness and like goes invisible, but you also envelop your teammates, almost like a Jeff. So you can actually like take your teammates. If you hear like an Iron Man, like maximum pulse, and it's coming at you, just gather your teammates up, bring them in the darkness, pulse hits, nothing happens, and just pop them back out.
Oh, wow.
So you can save your team, which is great.
Oh, I thought that was just like an invisibility thing. I didn't realize he like takes them to the darkness realm or whatever.
Gone.
So, yeah, I thought it gave them a speed boost, but maybe it does that too. I didn't realize that it makes them invulnerable.
Yeah, so very cool. It's an awesome character. And,
lots going on there.
Yeah, first I was like intimidated by it. I didn't even want to touch him because I'm like, there's no way. But like once you get I don't want to say there's like a beauty to the flow of that character, but once you kind of just get a feel for it, it's just almost like a rhythm. It's literally a rhythm of just playing that character. I mean, I've had matches where I was a solo strategist in the whole match and like got MVP. It happened this morning actually. Got MVP as a solo strategist and just had like 14,000 healing or whatever it was, and it was just like, I mean, it was chaotic because I'm having to heal multiple people, but kept the team alive. We got to win.
I played him once, or played him a couple times, and tried to do it, but I was like, really not in the mood to learn right now. So, so it's like there's a lot of learning I got to do for this. But I was getting a couple of cool things happening. So
yeah, definitely, I recommend people check them out. Yeah. They're very cool, and especially I mean, we're going to talk about in a second here about the competitive playlist. If people don't want to play a strategist, that is a great strategist, I think, to play. To help your team out. What do you guys? So, have you played Iron Fist? I guess is kind of the big question. I mean, Iron Fist seems to be kind of all over the place.
I've not tried.
So,
I've smashed his skull in with Mjolnir many times, but I've not played him myself.
I have over the last probably 48 hours fallen in love with Iron Fist, and it's kind of part of it is number one, something to talk about too is the other game mode that's in here, the arcade. Which I remember them saying there was going to be this conquest mode, and like I didn't even really think twice about it until the game came out, and I realized like, oh shit, there's actually like this arcade mode that has this other mode in it. Long story short, 6v6. It's a small Tokyo 2099 map. When you get a kill, the person drops a gem. First team to collect 50 gems wins, and you can gather multiple gems at once. And if you get killed, you drop like 4 or 5 gems. So like the counter kind of goes up rather quickly. Rounds are only 4 minutes. They're quick. So it's a great way to learn heroes and basically to have like 1v1 fights all over the map. So it's quick, boom, boom. You can knock out like your dailies and stuff like that, which is awesome. But I went in there with him, and after just a couple matches, finally got a feel for his kit. And dude, like he is just ridiculous. Like you just pointing at an enemy, you get this little yellow like reticule that is over them, and the minute you hit like your punch, it's like an auto attack or an auto lock on. So then he's locked on the enemy. So that's why if you're an Iron Man or a Storm and you've been up in the air and this Iron Fist is right in your face, it's because not only does he have a triple jump, but then he has his other kick that like launches him forward, and then that's all he needs to do is get in position where that yellow reticule is there, and then he's on you. So then as Iron Fist, you just have to keep your reticule pointed at the enemy, and you just melt people. So there is nothing more satisfying in this game right now than being an Iron Fist and jumping 50 feet into the air through your multiple like jumps and kicks to take down a Tony Stark flying above you. It is the greatest thing ever. And I know when it happens to me, and I'm sure listeners, when it happens to you, you hate every minute of it, but it's so much fun to do it when it happens. It's great.
So with the reticule thing, is it kind of like a Halo sword?
Yes.
Dash forward.
That's the best way, but it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away as long as you're locked on. You can literally like if you're playing controller,
like a magnet.
Just hold your trigger down, and he's just like. Bah, 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 bah. It's
but
crazy.
Can they dodge out of it, kind of thing?
Well,
like
that's kind of the minutia of his kit. Is there are blocks, and if you block it, like I think it like strengthens your punches. And then he also has a little, like a damage reducer, like a defender type thing. So you hit that, so that gives you not necessarily a shield, maybe a little bit of armor. But what I try to do is save at least one other like jump, one of my triple jumps. So what happens is you start punching, then they come at you, and then you try to jump and get behind them, and quickly as you're going over, turn around and maybe aim at their back, and then come in their back. Like, so you need to constantly be jumping like a jumping bean, like jumping all over.
Yeah.
If you just try to take them like from the front, nothing's gonna happen. Like you're done. So he's basically like a sneak around the side, take out the back line, maybe try to get some of the midline if you see they're low, and that's just the best way to play him.
I gotta try him.
Yeah, he's fun. And then what about Wolverine? Have you guys jumped in and played him at all?
I have not.
I think I played one game and I didn't. Again, the learning aspect, I didn't give it the attention it deserved.
You don't feel like learning. You got to be in the mood.
But I've started to do that now with some other characters. You know, beginning of the night, pick a couple characters, take them to the school, right?
Yeah.
You know, read their abilities and try it on the little robots. But Wolverine, no. But I've been playing a lot of Hulk and I've been throwing him a few times, usually just at the beginning of the game. But it's just fun. It's a good time.
Wolverine, like if I had to pick out of the melee characters like Iron Fist or Wolverine, I'm going, especially now, Iron Fist all the way. But Wolverine, I had a couple good matches. I mean, I have not had an MVP with him yet. But depending on like the team that I'm with and the game mode that it is, you can do pretty good with him. And I know there's people out there putting videos up of just like them just decimating teams with like 30 plus kills. But he is a little bit, I don't know. I don't want to say he's hard because this kid, he really doesn't have that much. He has like the quick slash that's on like a 5-second cooldown. And the whole thing is about building his little rage meter that you see in the middle of the screen. When it gets filled up to red, you're doing more damage and you can take more damage. So as long as that is up, you're going to be doing as much damage as possible. But it's really when you kind of let him get away from the fight and that cools down that you're much more squishier. And then the other thing they added was he has the dash where he slashes forward, but then he has like this jump almost where he kind of dives and he's all red. And when he smashes down, he knocks the enemies up a little bit. And then I think he goes berserk for like, I think it's 4 seconds. But the way it jumps is he actually jumps at an arc, where the best way to use that is if the enemy, like you're slashing the enemy right in front of you and hit it, so you actually catch them and carry them with you. So you can use that to dive into a fight, but you're better off using it once you're in the fight in the enemy's face and then hitting it. And then you're like, backing them up into a wall. And then by this point you're rage and berserk and then you're just slashing away at them and you take them down real quick.
Turn around, bring them back to your team.
Yeah. Or that, yeah. Or go where they have their back. They have the back to you. Run up behind them, and boom, you're literally dumping them into the middle. So yeah, he's
awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna figure him out, I think.
And I would recommend go into that conquest mode. Like it's tempting to go into the training, do it, but I mean, go to the conquest. It's literally a 4-minute match at most, and then you're actually fighting other people and just playing around with
you get
kits.
real players that way.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet, but I definitely want to try.
Oh, it's fun, man. Like it really.
Heroes in there.
This morning, I actually got up and played. Like I had my dailies that were there. I just did them all in there because I was like, I can just go knock these out quick. There. The only ones that you can't really get in there, I think, quicker, is the ones where it's like, deal 10,000 damage or take 15,000 worth of damage with shields, because those matches are so fast. You're never going to have that. Now it'll add up. But you're just going to have to do multiple things where, if you do a payload match, sometimes if you're Magneto and you're holding your shield, you're going to take 17,000 damage because your team's healing you. So it's like, it's faster for me to do it that way than in this other one. You just kind of got to gauge it that way. But speaking of that, like for me, that's kind of how I've been playing, is just, I love, and I think I've told you guys this before, but that's one of the things I've loved about Overwatch is like, getting up every day and going in to do my dailies. And I know some people don't like that, but like that's kind of the hobby side of it for me, is it's like, who do I need to play today to do these dailies? And so I'm never like, I mean, in Overwatch, I had my characters that I was best with. And this game is kind of the same way as well. But like, I just enjoy playing the mix of heroes that are out there. That's me. That's just the type of player I am with these games. Like I'll wake up one day and say, like today or yesterday, it's Iron Fist. I'm playing Iron Fist. And then a couple days prior to that, I'm just always playing with Cloak and Dagger or just jumping around a little bit. I know a lot of people like to play and go into competitive and like these are their 3 or 4 main characters and that's what they're doing. That's just, for me, that's not the way I play these games. Or how are you guys feeling, I guess, on that sense? Like, are you... And maybe that's just because we're so early on, but like for me, that's just how I play these games.
I think I'm the opposite. I think I'm that second scenario you described where the dailies do nothing for me. I don't I don't really care much for the currency or a lot of the battle pass or things like that. And so I'd like to be able to read like some of the little gallery orbits and stuff that I'm sure we'll get to, but that's like my only motivation to do those things. But when I play the game and when I play games like this, one, I like playing with friends, and that's like my biggest motivation to play. Like if we can get a group together and just like playing to have fun and playing to, you know, just whatever, like that's literally the best. But if I'm playing with myself, like my goal is to improve, like, okay, let me pick a handful of like my tank, my DPS, my healer, and a handful of those roles. And I want to try to improve a little bit each game. Like what did I do? What can I do differently? What can I do a little bit better? And just kind of like really get into like watching myself improve with a hero. That's how I play. That's the joy that I get out of getting in there.
Yeah, nice. For myself, a little mix of that, I guess. I do look at the dailies, and I use that to decide kind of what character am I going to learn how to play today. Okay, well, this character I can get 2 out of the 3 of the daily or whatever the next weekly quests are if I play them, and I kind of like that person. I don't really know them very well, so I'll focus on them today and try to get a few games and just kind of let that pick which characters I've used. I haven't played all of the characters yet, but I'm still trying to find the ones I like, and I just kind of fill too depending on what my team's doing. I'm open to just playing something that I think will help the team comp over really anything.
Yeah. That's the thing. We're so early in the game too, you know, that I think, you know, branching out is definitely you're going to see that more right now. But, you know, people with the competitive playlist out now, I think we're starting to see people kind of settle in now. I mean, let's just mention competitive here right off the bat. I mean, they launched it the day after. Was it Friday night or Saturday? I mean, Saturday night, I think it is when it launched. How are you guys feeling overall? Because like for me, I'm number one, I'm playing on PC, which, you know, Overwatch I mained on console. So obviously the jump to PC has been different because it's much faster, obviously, on PC. But for me right now, and we're going to get into the role queue conversation here in a bit, but like one of the things that I'm not liking about competitive right now and the way they're handling it versus, let's say, like in Overwatch is Overwatch has the placement matches, right? And so you're going to get that match where you're going to get stomped. But then you're going to get that match as you're going through your placement. And then, of course, you're going to get the one where you do great. And then it kind of slowly like fine-tunes in where you need to be. The way they're handling it here is everybody's bronze 3. And you need to work your way through. So, obviously, the initial moments of the competitive playlist, you're going to be playing with people that are Grandmaster, whatever. Yeah. Now, we're almost a week out. Or what were we, 5 days maybe since it launched. Maybe it's settling out a little bit. But personally, for me, I think I played like 3 or 4 comp matches and was like, no, not for me right now. Like, I'm not. Now, as much as I want the Moon Knight skin, which we will talk about in a bit, it looks great. I freaking love Moon Knight. I'm like, you know what? If I'm not having fun right now with the time that I have to play, I'm not going to bother. So what are your guys' thoughts on not necessarily, I guess, the role queue part of it yet? We'll talk about that here just in a second. But what do you think of the way they're just handling the placement of it and kind of having people everybody start at bronze 3? Now, we don't know yet, I don't think, where you'll start. Or actually, you know what? They might have said that. Maybe you'll start 2 ranks down.
I think they dropped you down 2.
2, right? So they have said that. Yeah. So I guess we won't have that in season 1. Yeah. So I guess season 1 we won't have that problem. But how do you feel about it right now? Like, have you... I know, Neil, you guys played a bunch.
Yeah, I played a bunch on... What was that comp release day? Was that Saturday or whatever it was? And Matt and I played for a while, and we just got stomped game over game, trying to keep Matt positive. Like, all right, guys,
he hated every minute of it.
We got him. Like,
he already told me, he's like, I hated it. Neil's crazy.
Yeah. But so I kept with it. You know, it's starting to learn what your skill level is, right? Overwatch has seen us play for years, so they know around where our skill level is. But this being a new game, they're learning what makes a good player from a bad player and how to track that and how to match make people. I think having this ladder kind of thing is there's good and bad parts to it. It allows everyone to start from the same place, obviously, and then it feels good as you climb up. But yeah, just getting all of those players at the same spot and realizing that, oh, I don't think I'm going to be up with the Grandmasters anytime soon. It feels kind of bad. Like I'm still bronze 3 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I did play again last night. It's been a few days, so I think a lot of the people moved up, and I had some really good games, and I enjoyed it. Had a good time, and I think it'll just get better and better as we go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about somewhat the elephant in the room, because that's kind of been the drama this week, has been the idea of a role queue. And even prior to launch, we'd heard from the devs like they're not doing a role queue. They were adamant about that. They want people to be able to play whatever character they want to play whenever, right? There was never going to be a role queue coming to the game. And of course, Comp comes out in the community now. This has kind of been the big discussion over on Reddit, which of course, the big fancy Reddit, everybody loves Reddit. But seriously, I mean, it's a great way to get a pulse of kind of what's hot in the community, right? What's the hot topic? And I mean, you can just go to YouTube, search Marvel Rivals. Probably 1 out of every 4 or 5 videos you see are either here's how to fight Iron Fist, here's how to play Iron Fist, or what's up with role queue? Like, are we getting it or not getting it? Like, that's literally what all the YouTube videos are. And I'm actually twofold on it. As a solo player, when I'm playing solo, I enjoy having the role queue in Overwatch, because then I can go in and say, I want to be a healer in this, or in this game, it would be, I want to play strategist, and I could go in. But I understand then the flip side of it, of the fact that this game is not as simple as a 2v2v2, right? Like in Overwatch, they purposely set things up to have, like you have your tank, but now, especially now they're 5v5. You have your tank, your 2 DPS, your 2 healers. This game, because it's 6v6 and just kind of the way the meta is, the power creep that all these characters have, having the seasonal buffs and all that, it just won't work. And so I do see both of those sides to it. I'm kind of right now to that point where it's like, I wish that there was like a solo queue where it's like, if everybody's playing solo, maybe lock us into roles, but then when you have teams come together, then you can have that open. I like how Overwatch has the 4 options. Overwatch has either Q as DPS, Q as healer, Q as tank, or just an all queue. Kind of wish they'd kind of do that, but then the argument against that is then you increase your wait times to find a match, and that's part of the reason why people don't want that. Now, granted, obviously the population in this game is huge right now, so you wouldn't probably have that right now, but 6 months down the line, we don't know. So I don't know, Kenz, I want your take on it.
Yeah, so I just up front, I'm of the camp, even if it's a small camp, that I don't want role queue. I like this.
You're not the small camp. Like, it seems like the majority is keep it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, honestly, dude, I think the minority is give us role queue. It's like the vocal people that I've been seeing are keep it this way.
So yeah, because I think that for one, I think you've got to, I guess in a blunt way, you've got to learn to play the game. You've got to be able to make those, like, part of the game is being able to switch up the strategy. If you've got 2-2, I think it's great to start with 2-2-2. That's usually a pretty solid move. But if you're trying to push, and depending on what the other team is doing, and you need more damage, then drop a tank, add some damage. Add a third tank if everyone's dying, add a third healer. Just the opportunity to make these changes and communicate with your team with what's needed. I think, and that was just the beauty of Overwatch 1, of being able to do that. But the issue is that you've got to have a positive and emotionally healthy team, that's like working together and knows how to communicate with one another. This does fall apart when you're solo queuing. And so I really like that. I haven't thought about that. I like that idea of doing a role, like maybe not necessarily a role queue, but so it doesn't lock you into a role, but you queue, like select like I'm mainly a tank, so I'm gonna click tank. But when it goes to the game, you know, I could still play damage if I
Yeah.
wanted to.
See,
but
that would be a
it's
good
like
yes.
you've selected the role that you are planning to play or that you are best at. So the game kind of assembles it that way, but still part of the game is switching, so it still gives you the opportunity to switch.
Yeah. Like
I think that's a good
rivals
idea.
assembling, possibly.
Yeah,
is what it might be
almost.
doing. Almost.
Like even getting like just like a marker beside your name when you're picking your character.
Yeah,
like
I'm
prefer
usually
tank.
the tank. Yeah,
I prefer that because then
Yeah.
people are gonna know. Okay, so he prefers tank. Let him play tank. I don't want him to throw make them play a healer if they are not used to playing healer. I want people to play what they're best at, and I think that's a great idea.
Don't
just
they
to
do
have
that
like
in?
a
Well,
soft-
I guess it's not competitive in Pokemon Unite. Isn't that in there?
Oh man,
The only reason I say
bet.
that is like I think when you play competitive, you may actually queue in competitive in a role because it's been a long time since I played competitive in Pokemon Unite. But I think like when you just play the regular game, like you go in and you have your team of 5, and you can say like I plan to go this lane and I plan to play this type of character. And it's like it's not locking you in. You're just kind of in the beginning saying this is what I want to play.
somewhere to start.
Right.
Yeah,
And
what
like,
I find
that
is
would be great, man.
Yeah, what I find is everyone's just kind of sitting there waiting for somebody to pick something. That's option one. That's everyone's just sitting waiting to fill.
So
it
where
in.
are we going to eat tonight? Where do you want?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where do you want?
What are we gonna watch on Netflix?
What are we gonna do? Yeah.
Payload's coming. And then the other one is we've got 5 DPSs and everyone's locked
And
in.
Jeff.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll heal then. So, but then another thing is I check after we've loaded in the game. I bring up the character thing because people have been changing around depending on what other people have been picking too. So then you have like your second round of picks, right? So another thing I like to do is if everyone picked their players, we don't have any team ups. I check the team ups and I'm like, okay, what character can I switch to so we get one of these team up bonuses? Because that's a fun part of the game and it forces me to kind of learn a new character sometimes or what. But I think the team ups are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It ends up being the toxicity of it that sucks. And it was the same problem with Overwatch of you have someone on the team that becomes like the squad leader or whatever that's like making, like telling everybody what to do and what to change and you have people that are defiance in that. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do what I think's best. So it's like you've got to find ways to communicate to the team, hey, this isn't working. This is maybe what we need to try. And I think that like because what ultimately ends up happening is you, like Neil said, you end up just sitting in a queue and you're like, all right, well, I don't know what everybody else is going to do, so I'm going to be the fill person. But then when you have a team full of fill people, it's like, okay, well, what are we doing?
There could be a perfect
What's
match.
happening?
where-
Talk to each other.
Yeah, it could be a perfect match where everybody has their spot and where they're most comfortable, but because you're trying to help your team out, no one's in the right spot, and then you're not playing the best as you could be. The other part of that is like, what kind of options do they have? Do they have a voice chat in there? Obviously, there's text chat.
I think on PC, your like the straight up initial settings are you're in the voice chat and it's push to talk. I've yet to hear one person in.
I've heard quite a few.
I've heard nobody talk, dude. And I played like 100 games, not one person.
Have they been nice? Not really, but I've heard. I've heard them.
Now, console beta, I remember hearing people, but here on PC at launch, I literally have not heard a peep out of anybody. I don't know if that's just because people are all in their own Discord chats and not in it. Like when we play together, that's how we are. And then when I'm playing solo, I've just been silent. Now, again, I've only played a handful of comp matches, so maybe there's more in comp, but of the couple comp matches I played, nobody was talking. But again, and I know when people play competitive, like there's not a lot of people solo queuing into those, maybe like I am. So maybe I'm just getting matched up with, groups of like 2 or 3 people or maybe even a full 5 stack.
Yeah.
But I really want that Moon Knight skin, but I really don't feel like
It's tough out there as a solo queue. If you really gotta,
I know.
You gotta assemble.
I know, man.
Yeah, I think with all of this, it kind of also just pushes people to try and find a group, right?
Yeah.
I hope
think
so.
on the Discord, like their official channel. They have a whole bunch of voice channels for people to try and like find up a group, because then you can find people that fit well in your group with the characters they like to play. And I know when we're going between games, we're like, oh, who you guys want to play? You want to try and do one of these team ups? And like it just will
Makes a world of a difference.
make you, you're gonna eventually pick something that you want to pick or that you're good with, rather than just like, okay, we have no tanks at all, I guess I'm tank and I've never played it before. All right. But again, it's a new game, 5-6 days or 7 days, I guess. This is a week since it launched. But growing pains, right? We'll see what it turns into, but so far so good. I'm having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely tons of fun. Real quick, just the maps. I mean, we had the Hydra map and the Clintar map that were and the Wakanda maps, I guess too, we should say, that weren't in the beta or the alpha. I mean, every single one of them knocked it out of the park. Love it. There's actually all the new maps, there's still not a map that is worse than the what's the domination Asgard map where the thing in the middle like collapses and crumbles.
I haven't seen that one.
We all
is
hate.
That still in the game?
It's still in the game.
Did they take it out?
Nothing has replaced that as the worst map, so that is still the worst map in the whole game. But here's something I learned this week. I watched, they had it over on the Marvel, not Marvel Rivals, but the actual Marvel YouTube channel, and it was like a 3-minute video showing a bunch of the devs. It was all subtitled, talking about the development of the game. And they mentioned that map, and like I thought every map, the destruction always rebuilds itself, but it doesn't. On that map, it does, because it uses the magic of Asgard. And so that's actually like part of the map telling the story itself. Like I thought, like even when you go to Tokyo, I guess I never realized it. I just thought everything just rebuilt itself eventually.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Only on Asgard does it do that, because the story of the map is the magic of Asgard rebuilds that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
And isn't like Loki, like, hasn't he taken over all of Asgard?
Yeah, so it's something
and
with
it
his
looks
magic.
like Loki magic. Like
It is. I think it is. Like
whenever I first saw it in the beta, I was thinking like, what's this Loki mess happening right now?
But that's what it is.
Awesome.
It's cool,
I've
man.
immediately gone from being so down on like map destruction to that's freaking cool.
Yeah, because it doesn't
I like
happen
that a lot.
anywhere else. Like Tokyo, some of the buildings crash, and then because it's the spider maps, you'll see like the roof like kind of hanging on the webbing and all that stuff. So
Right.
like they have all these little bits built into the maps, which is just, I mean, the thought they put into it is fantastic. And
That's
then
great.
you mentioned it a little while ago, Ken's, about the dailies and doing these events and these challenges. Like, we didn't know how they were going to add in the story of the game. And originally, I think we were just kind of told like, hey, it's just going to kind of be in these little cut scenes when you're going into the maps. No, there's like the event happening for season 0 every 48 hours. I think they've been unlocking these little challenges, and you're unlocking these little panels for these little comic books that are in there. And when you unlock the full section of an event, you get a story bit. You get this like, what is it, like a 7 or 8 paragraph story that's
It's a lot to read.
That's telling you the story of that like map. So we've had like the Tokyo 2099 ones, the Wakanda ones. I think today, what were the ones today? The Hydra ones
was the
came out today.
beginning?
The which one?
I think
Was it Asgard? Yeah, it was first.
the beginning, because that's when we learned about how Loki took over.
Yeah, that's the one that
I read
That's
that
right.
one. Or was that it was some squirrel? Was that the squirrel that was
It's in there.
Oh,
yeah,
it
the
is there.
squirrel.
Oh, yes.
supposed
Yeah.
to be in charge of everything? I thought that was
Uh-huh.
cool. I read that one, and I think I unlocked the Tokyo 91. Yeah, the spider one.
And like the coolest thing about that is you can see there's other issues that are going to be there. And every season we're probably going to get this, where it's like, this is how they're telling that story. And every hero has not only their lore section on just that character, like within this universe. So you can read like, here's this Iron Man, and it tells you all about that Iron Man. But then there's other bits to unlock that I don't think are unlockable yet, but we're going to get there. And so I think that, I mean, it's just such a great way to expand the story. The only thing I hope they do, and I know we talked about it when we saw the launch trailer, give us some sort of animated shorts with this animation would just be amazing. I hope we get something like that at some point. Would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're knocking it out of the park with the menus in the game and how all that stuff's put together, and just the art of each of those story bits, and how this one unlocks in 2 days, and you get to see a little panel of what that story part's going to be about. I think the third one I haven't done yet, but it's the Hydra base one, so we'll go into that, and then they organize them all in the comic books in the other section. I think that's great. I feel like they should have that available on their website as well, whether you log into your thing, because
that would be cool. Yeah.
When I did take the time and read it, but unless you have like a long queue time to spend the time and read these things, it's like, okay, yeah, I can sit here for like 3-4 minutes and read this bit of text, which is great. It's a nice thing to do at the end of the night. That's what
as long as they keep it in the game. Let's not do Grimoire cards again.
No.
Well, but you know what? I think a Marvel Rivals app, an official app, which I haven't even looked. I can almost guarantee you, if they're not out already, they're coming very soon. Some sort of third-party app that's going to pull all this together. But that would be very cool to have an app. And let's be honest, you want a long queue time? Yeah, you're sitting on the throne. You got a couple 10 minutes, kind of, dropping a deuce. You might want to read up on the the Marvel Rivals. I think it'd be perfect, right? It's like those are the best place to read the Grimoire cards from Destiny, all that stuff.
Put it in the same place that they put their hero roster and all their abilities.
Yeah.
Have like a lore, like they do have the hero lore, but just have like the season lore and things you've unlocked in there. Did you guys notice there's like lore items?
Yeah, what are those, dude? They're tied to the achievements, and they just have little bits to them. And there's a collection
you can purchase in the battle pass.
Oh,
I think.
Well, I'm on the almost done with the second page of the battle pass. I think the Doctor Strange skin is the last thing for me to buy. And there hasn't been an item in there. Everything I got was from the achievements. Like as you're doing the achievements, you'll get a little gift, and then every once in a while it'll just be like a random piece of a rock on Clintar or something I got was one thing, and then there was like something from Asgard, like, which is cool, right? It's showing, I guess, what's in your inventory from the different achievements that you've kind of had throughout the game, which I think is that's pretty neat. Now, what about skins? And I'm gonna I mean, you guys obviously know, but the listeners don't know. So I talked about how I wanted to buy currency to buy I bought the $100 currency, like literally the
best value.
It was the best value. Man. Come on, best value, $100. So I've invested in the Wolverine skin because I just had that Wolverine skin. Nice. Bought the Cloak and Dagger. Bought the Iron Man, which was more so because I wanted the nameplate, but then Ken's had to be.
You're welcome.
He had to point out that he actually had the
Iron Gauntlet.
The gauntlet. He had the Iron Gauntlet on, which doesn't show up all the time, but it shows up in the cutscene every once in a while. I think when you do the emote, when he goes like, the thing it like shows a little bit. So I had to get that.
Just had to.
I mean, come on, you got to. And then what's the other skin? The Captain America skin I got as well. The the robot one, the Gundam looking one, which is cool because his voice lines have a little bit of effect. And then when he runs, you hear like it's like you can hear the hydraulics in the suit. It's not just like him running normal. So you do get a little bit extra out of that.
So that would be one of the epic or legendary skin. They have qualities to them.
The Iron Man is the gold one. But I think the other ones, I don't know what they are, whatever the gold is. And you know what? I actually bought the Penny Parker one because on PC it's not free, but it is free on PlayStation Plus, which is an awesome skin as well. So if you have PlayStation Plus, I know, Neil, you got it. The Venom Penny Parker is awesome. That emote is cool too because it's the mech. The spider mech kind of gives out this like crazy shriek. It goes down on all fours and does like a crazy shriek.
So that I have not spent any money. I have the Penny Parker skin, and then they also gave me a Spider-Man skin for being on PlayStation. So I think the Venom Knight is kind of the closest thing that I see myself buying.
Oh, the Space Knight?
Space Knight, yeah. But I'm still not convinced. I just like the base skins too.
They are pretty sweet.
They're all still new. Maybe I'll get sick of them one day, but I've only been looking at them for a few days, so I'm happy with that. The other thing would be the Wolverine, just because the base Wolverine skin doesn't do it for me. I need that. I need that mask, that hood.
And you just watched
Deadpool and I just watched Deadpool Wolverine. So.
Nice. There you go. I did buy a skin. I told you guys I was not going to, that I don't buy skins, but they got me. And the game. They've knocked it out of the park so far, so I was like, I'll give them something. And I don't want anything in the battle pass. I didn't care for that, so I bought the Donny Cates Thor Herald skin, which is one of my favorite comic book arcs.
Yep.
Where Thor gets like a brand new like outfit, and yeah, it's and he has a cape, and I really need Thor to have a cape. It's kind of the big thing that's been missing. But I did see that they're bringing in a Love and Thunder skin, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'll have the cape there. But I'm happy with this one, and it has the little text on the side of Mjolnir.
Oh, dude, that is so cool. I didn't even notice
like
it. So
such
you
a
sent us
neat
that.
detail.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. I don't plan to buy any more for the time being, unless they throw something awesome at me. But
They will.
I'm sure they will. But yeah, they got me.
I like how we're earning whatever the blue currency is that we
Yeah.
can buy skins with. I think that's a big thing. And I was looking through, I was debating whether to get the battle pass or not, because you get 300 blue currency and 300 gold currency if you finish it, and it costs 490 gold currency or something. So
Yep.
it's like,
So do they not give you enough, or do they give you enough?
it's not enough, and it won't be
Yeah.
enough for the next one because it's going to be double the
Double the
cost. But
price,
at least
yeah.
it's giving you like 600, because you can change gold to blue if you wanted to. So
Mhm.
it's giving you
So you
like
can, like,
600 currency
Yeah, you can like get through the
for
battle pass that way.
paying whatever.
Can
I
you
said,
buy
490.
anything with that though?
Skins.
The blue is what you
You
buy.
can buy it with, but can you buy it with 600 currency though?
No, there's not.
Oh,
I don't
no.
think you could probably buy some sprays and things, but I don't think there's a skin that's 600.
Yeah, they're at least
Yeah,
like
so you're still not like, you're still gonna have to pay money.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, though, let's. I mean, this is a great point. Let's talk about the monetization. They put out a dev talk. It was the 7th dev talk I think they did over on the website. Just about the monetization in general. And I mean, like you mentioned, Neil, I mean, they're giving you free currency even if you don't want to buy the battle pass. So if you see that's a spray that you want or something like that, basically you could get some stuff without having to spend money. Some of those cosmetics. But the biggest thing, of course, the battle pass carries over. So you can continue to work on a battle pass. One thing, though, that they didn't really mention, and I think it's in some of the fine print, is so when you are progressing through a season and getting all those dailies and getting those things done, you get that blue currency to buy the things that are within that battle pass. If you don't use them within that season, I think they go away, the season stuff. So you need to kind of, even though the battle pass will carry over, the little blue currency you're earning within that season needs to be spent within that season. Not the blue to buy the skins, the stuff to buy like within the battle
I think it's
pass.
more purple, but yeah.
So
And how do you work on a battle pass that's ended because that's how you do it.
because
is
then
you
the season
spend
starts,
the
you're just doing your
currency.
dailies. So you're getting the daily currency again. So season 1 starts, you got 3 new dailies, you're earning that currency that you can then spend back in that previous battle pass if you want, or work on the new battle pass. So it's like, so
you just lose what
the
you don't
dailies.
use.
Correct. So it's kind of making you like try to spend the money within that battle pass that you purchased, or
Yes.
vice versa. It's
Which
basically
makes
like
sense.
you can't do
'cause-
dailies for 3 seasons straight, and then when season 4 starts, just immediately buy
everything.
season 4 and just buy everything in that.
Mhm.
Like you have to spend it within that season. So, I mean, it makes sense, I guess. Just kind of have you. But overall, having them carry that over is a great thing. So when you invest in that battle pass, you see something you want in there, you're going to be able to get it. You're not going to get the FOMO and have the stress of having to log in every day and have to play through that season. That is part of the reason why, like Fortnite. So I look at the battle pass and some like the Marvel one. That War Machine skin that they just had out recently looked awesome, but I'm like, I'm not going to play enough Fortnite to unlock that. But if I buy it, I'm going to be stressing, thinking I need to play every single day, And I don't know.
But yeah, if you knew you could, finish it over a year or whatever, then you'd go back to play it. And I feel like that's an easier buy for me too.
Yeah.
I've done it before with Diablo 4 where, okay, I got the special edition, it came with a battle pass. I've got it. All right, I got one more week left. I'm like, okay, let's see how high I can get, at least trying to get all my premium currency back. But it just takes away from the fun of the game. You're not playing the game because you want to play it. You want to play it to get more value of the money you put in. Which,
it's not great. Don't like that.
No.
at
Not
all.
a good way to feel. No.
And of course, they did mention as well that what was I going to say? That you're going to get these free cosmetics, and that the cosmetics, everything's visual, so there's never going to be anything like to buy power in this game. Of course, all the heroes are free, so they double down, of course, on that. So we don't have to worry about there ever being anything in this game that's going to give someone an advantage over you, other than they may just be better at the game than you, I guess. Is the right way to say, or they may have a 5 or a 6 stack in comp, right? That's the only thing. They have friends and you don't. I think is kind
That they bought.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they
I'm,
bought-
sure I'm sure Ken's is playing Thor better with his new skin, though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because
I
then he'll
can
play
see-
him more. Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm playing him more now. He's like the one that I want to play because I've got a cool skin.
that's right. Of course.
You get the cool sound effects, and you got your nice your title card on your profile.
Yeah.
Your MVP intro. You're gonna push harder to get those MVPs.
That's
so everyone
right.
can see
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
So overall, I think this launch has just been actually pretty awesome in a world that we live in now, where we even have AAA single player games that launch and still are broken and still have problems and can't, or save wiping, people that you buy into early access and 3 days early and saves are like all that junk. To have a massive game, multiplayer game, free to play, millions of people playing, and not have issues with the game. It's incredible what's kind of going on with this game right now. So, kudos to NetEase for just knocking it out of the park in pretty much every aspect of the game. Let's talk a little bit about, they did a AMA, kind of Ask Me Anything before the game came out. I just kind of want to, we got a big thread here. This was from Miller Ross over on Twitter. He had a huge thread kind of going through it all. And Neil, you actually tuned into this, didn't you?
Yeah, I popped in here. I wasn't there for the whole time, but I caught kind of some of the end of it. But what it seemed like, you have a question. Well, they took a bunch of questions before, and so they had a big list of questions they were going through. But they had the whole team was there. You got to meet the whole team. They had everybody from the China team and then from the US team, and they just take turns and be like, okay, this one's for you, hosting questions, like a panel you would watch. Some of the questions were pretty interesting, and you could just tell of the team's excitement too. All of the developers were, because it was the night before launch, or they were doing it, and they're like, oh, we're so excited for tomorrow. And they were happy to go into details, and didn't seem like they had too many barriers up of like what you can't talk about. But some of the things he said, well, I can't really talk about that right now, but they were just, it was very, very well put together.
Yeah. A couple things just random things they threw out there. I mean, they did mention, and we do know now, this weekend there is going to be a Marvel Rivals Champions tournament is coming. They also mentioned that only under 1% of matches to date have featured imbalanced team compositions. So I'm sure a lot of people don't feel that out there playing the game, but I think part
What
of that.
does that mean?
I think
Well,
that
was
just
beta, right?
yes, so this
Pre-launch.
was pre-launch, but I think that means that from their perspective, the character's abilities should have been fine. I think it's just player ability. It was imbalanced. So the composition of the team was not imbalanced. And of course is a player problem. I think it's
So basically, he told us it's a you problem. It's not an us problem.
pretty much. Yeah. He did say there's no anti-heroes only restriction on villains coming to the character roster. So kind of confirming we will get some villains at some point. Let's see. There's no schedule for balance patches at this time, so they're just going to kind of play it by ear and kind of wing it and see how it goes. There will be some new big bads being teased, or they have teased some more big bads besides just the 2 Dooms. And this is funny. They kind of ended it by saying they're aware of potential server issues day one, and they're on standby, ready to resolve anything. And of course, that is
I didn't
coming
see
on.
any.
And there's nothing.
I didn't
It's
hear of
awesome.
any.
Seasons will last 13 weeks. He did confirm that as well, and that there will be plural new heroes every season. So,
That's huge.
yeah, and of course, players' rank will decay 2 tiers between the seasons, in competitive. So,
There was a lot of talk
what's in
about
there?
people asking about alternates of the same character kind of thing. And what I remember from their response was, yeah, you know what? We've got so many people to choose from. We could spend all that time and give you like just the same character with a few different abilities, say like Thor or
Jane Foster.
Jane
Thor,
Foster
Mighty Thor.
or
Yeah.
whatever, right? Or like with Venom, you got Eddie Brock. They even already give him a skin that's the Flash Thompson Venom, right? So they're like, maybe one day, but they have such a huge list to work from of new, unique individual characters that they're going to do that before they start looking at alternate versions of the characters they already have.
Yeah. I mean, you could see a hero like Spider-Man. Like, sure, you have a Miles Morales, but that's not necessarily a reskin because Miles can go invisible and has the shock.
There's a
Now,
lot of different powers.
Flash Thompson Venom, sure, the Space Knight skin is technically Flash Thompson, but the actual, like, Flash Thompson Venom has dual pistols and is more of a... So it's like, that... Sure, the Space Knight Flash Thompson is more of a reskin, but in my head, the Flash Thompson Venom is totally different than
Have another one,
regular Venom. He's
more like a
up,
duelist.
He's almost like a Winter Soldier Venom practically.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, definitely some cool things in there. We also this week did get, or before launch, we got the story trailer for the game, which I kind of pull up on the screen for those watching live. What did you guys think? Kind of where things are set, Neil? I know you had kind of thrown this in the rundown. I actually had, believe it or not, forgotten this thing had come out as we were going into it. Again, I hope we get this animation, like animate this for us.
Yes. Man. Yeah, it's awesome. It gives a good kind of overview of Dr. Doom playing with trying to get science and magic and figure it all out. And so he creates this break in realities and the time stream and a whole bunch of other stuff. I thought that was pretty interesting. It kind of goes into the background of each of the multiverses or each of the universes, chronoverses. Like we've got the 2099 one, we've got like the Asgard one and stuff like that. So it went into that a little bit, which was pretty interesting and set it up pretty well that they're continuing along in the game with the text.
I would definitely recommend people watch this, especially if you're getting into the lore, which is one thing like I really yet. Oh, and yeah, right there as we were talking, we see Null in that trailer. So people have been going crazy. I mean, it's already been he had been kind of rumored like even leading up to the launch of the game, but you see Null in there. So, I mean, I think that's teasing not only that Null may be a villain at some point, maybe we're either going to take care of Doom or we'll have like a Null season. I mean, we've been talking for a while how we would love just a symbiote season, right? Where you give everybody these symbiote skins. We're going to get that at some point, I'm sure.
I think he's coming soon. And I remember there was some text that we were reading talking about the Milano crashing on Clintar and stuff like that. And slowly, that came out, but now you're starting to really like get into the lore, right? Because now I'm at first it's kind of a lot to take in at once, but they just keep drip feeding. They give you a little video here, some text here to read, and you start to like make that connection of we're playing this multiplayer PvP 6-on-6 team shooter game, but they do have that little bit more, and Marvel being storytellers, them integrating this into their game is very cool. And I know that Concord tried to do this a little while ago, and we see how that worked out for them. But
yeah.
Well, Overwatch too. I mean, the Overwatch shorts are still some of the best like animated things ever. And the little bits of story that are in those are so good, but they're just so few and far between. Is that there's not enough of them, and they're not really in the game, and it's there's they really just missed the mark with, there's no like overarching story that seems to be being told in Overwatch. There's stories within characters, but this is very much like, hey, we want to tell this, and this has maybe an ending.
True.
And that we're building towards.
The Overwatch stories would jump around in time, right? Like one would be the
Yeah.
origins of
Right.
this character, origins of
There's a
this
lot of
character.
great stuff there, but it's
When-
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the here and now, even though
Mhm.
we're across a few different times. But when we're playing our games this week, we're playing as part of Season 0, as part of that timeline, and we see where it goes from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to think about it in a game like this, right? Like, I don't want to say this has never been done. Obviously, Overwatch, like you guys just said, and Concord attempted it, but like nobody's really successfully done it. And
Yeah, it
so
hasn't been done
far,
successfully.
1 week in, I think they're doing a pretty damn good job at it.
Mhm.
And I think like I haven't really taken the time yet because I just want to keep playing the game to really dive into those story bits, but like there's stuff there that really interests me. And even like some of those cutscenes, they show you like on the bottom, sometimes you'll get, I don't know if it's every time, but every once in a while you'll see like they're giving you a little thing on the bottom. I'm trying to read it real fast and it's like gone. And I'm like, oh, I want to just read what they're saying on that cutscene.
Like the loading screen, you mean?
Yeah, like every once in a while, like I think Clintar has one, and like I remember, I was kind of learning about. It was in one of those interviews we read about how the Guardian ship crashes on Clintar, and it's like I want it. You're seeing it in these cutscenes, and it's like I want that story. I want all that, and it's here. You just have to go out and find it, and I think that's kind of cool of them putting that in there. But then that again leads to the idea of let me access that content, like you said, Neil, on the website, or give me like a third party, not third party, but like, some sort of companion app is the right word, like a companion app for the game where I can look at my stats and all that, but then have access to all that lore as well. I think it would be cool if you log in with your account and everything that you've had in there, even the little inventory thing we said, let me read that description in an app would be very cool. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that's on the way. Maybe we'll get that at some point.
Did you guys notice in one of the Tokyo 2099 maps, in the spawn room or the waiting room while you're waiting, they have NPCs show up. So Spider Zero is in one of those maps, and I see her just at the end, right before, because she disappears as the countdown's going down. But I think you can go and like talk to her and get some information. I saw it in a few different places. So do some exploring next time you're playing. I know that's the time we were just talking about where everyone's like, who are you gonna pick? I don't know. Who are you gonna pick? I don't know. We got 2 seconds left on the thing, but just pick a hero and then do a little exploring, because I don't know if it's changes before or after if you finish that part of the story, or the what are they called, like the little story bits, the gallery.
Yeah.
They might start showing up for you maybe, but I saw her once, and then she kind of took off right as we count down to 0, and there's something else you can go to it and like download something. I don't know. There's stuff there.
I mean,
that
even
I'm
in
interested
Asgard,
in.
the payload map, Loki will sometimes like fly around you and he's telling you stuff. Like, have you had
Oh,
that
yeah.
happen where it's like
at the beginning of the game?
yeah.
Really?
There's like,
Oh,
like an
yeah.
ethereal
Yeah, I
version
haven't
of
seen
Loki
any of
that
this.
kind of like
It's
goes
awesome.
around you. And that was in the beta too, I remember, but it happened to me just recently. So I don't know if that,
Nice.
like we said, is it in every time? I mean, even the banter of the characters as well too. Like
Yep.
when you have team ups and things like that, you're kind of getting bits from them too, which is awesome. We're
great.
actually going kind of long here, guys. So I'm going to just kind of breeze through some of this stuff. So we did get a hot patch, a little patch note, and a lot of it is really just bugs. It didn't seem like there was any balancing, which, I think that's kind of one of the things that's interesting about, and I kind of wanted to mention this here. And it even goes to competitive. So, you're seeing a mix of a lot of people complaining, this character is overpowered, this character is, whatever. And it's like, when you look at a game like Overwatch, they really tried to make that game as balanced as possible, right? It seems like the team, even to this day, is still focused on, we want the most balanced, competitive hero shooter game that we can have. I mean, when you were coming out of the gate like they did back in, 2016 that it launched, having people spend millions of dollars to buy competitive teams for their professional competitive league, to do that, you had to convince them you were going to have a balanced playing field, right? It seems like they're kind of doing the opposite with Marvel Rivals. They're just like, Yo, these
Go
are
have fun.
superheroes, man. Like, they blow stuff up, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to make them super powerful. And guess what? If one of them's too powerful, rather than do what Overwatch does where they nerf them, it seems like here, and I really hope this is what they do, they just say, we're just going to make everybody powerful. And when new heroes come out, guess what? They're going to be powerful too. And, like, I kind of like that because that just makes this game fun. And the only negative to that, I think, is that idea that, and I remember talking about it all the way back to our Alpha Roundtable. Like, I don't know if this game will ever be as competitive as Overwatch. I still am still just somewhat, I don't want to say hesitant to say that it will be. But part of me just thinks that because there's going to be just power creep in this game. I just have a feeling like which is great. That's what makes it fun, is that it's just always going to be this like, yeah, they're just superheroes, man, and they're just like blowing stuff up, and it's awesome. And like one guy's powerful this season, and maybe not the other. But then that brings into question the idea of the seasonal buffs, which has been the other big conversation this week outside of the competitive side. So what do you guys think of the idea of them just making people more powerful, rather than putting in the buffs? And then how do you feel about the seasonal buffs? Because right now, some of the more powerful heroes, like an Iron Fist, have a 15% damage boost just because of the seasonal boost. So next season, he may not have that, and he's not going to be as strong. Or a character like, I think it's Hulk, as a tank, has like 200 or 250 more HP because of the seasonal boost. He's not going to have it next season.
Yeah, Thor has more health too.
Or maybe it's Thor that I'm thinking. There's one of the big tanks right now has that,
I think
and
Hulk
it's going
does
to go away.
too, but I haven't played Hulk yet. But Thor has some more health, and he doesn't have a lot of health to begin with. Like a lot of the other tanks in this game, they don't have near as much health as they do in Overwatch, which is good. But he loses that, and he's definitely going to be a bit more challenging to play. But I think this is just one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see what it feels like. I think that it's too early to catastrophize this idea until we've seen how it looks over a couple of seasons. If there is that scenario where, I love to play Thor right now, there's a chance that if they take away that, they take away that health, that he becomes impossible to play, and I'm forced to have to like pivot and go to that doesn't feel great. We don't know for sure that that's exactly how it's going to happen. They could. I see it as maybe they use the. I'm sure that they are going to patch and balance heroes as they go. I don't think that they're going to leave it untouched. But this idea of the seasonal buffs is kind of like a beta test for certain heroes. It's like, what would Iron Fist feel like if he had, whatever, or what would Thor feel like if he had extra health? Take that away, what does he feel like then? Okay, well, clearly needs to be a change here. Let's bring it back up to what it needs to be, and so yeah, those are my thoughts.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like, maybe that's it. Like, so maybe the start of next season, they take those away, and then like, oh, you know what? That doesn't work. And then they put out a patch a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and boom, he's back to where he was. And like that becomes his baseline. Like Thor, where he is now, becomes baseline next season because it's just like, you know what? The seasonal buff really worked for him. It's no longer a seasonal buff. That's just him. That's just Thor.
Right.
Huh. What do you think, Neil?
Well, I'm kind of feel a bit disappointed that it's an always active thing and it's not when you just team up. But I think that's a way to get people excited about team ups, right? Because if these people have these seasonal buffs, then they're going to start picking them, and they don't get the extra ability or whatever as part of the team up. But then when those characters are getting picked more that season, then the other side of the team up, they have more choices, and it's likely that, hey, if I'm not picking a character that's buffed, at least I get a character that has a extra ability, right? So I want to see how drastic it's going to be for team up changes. Are they just going to throw all of these out the window and give you a whole new set of team up abilities?
Dude, if they do that, like, kudos to them for coming up with that many team up abilities right now. Like, there's already a bunch in the game. I mean, we mentioned the Captain America shield. We mentioned Moon Knight has the invisibility when you're rolling with was it Cloak and Dagger, I think.
I've been using Luna Luna Snow and Iron Fist. We've got to do that tonight, Mark.
Yeah, I need the magic
Show that.
Black Panther one. That's the only Wakanda thing I need for the
Okay.
event. I got to use that ability 5 times or something like that. I need that, and then I need one more win on the Hydra map, and then I'm all caught up, I think, on my events.
Okay. Yeah, Luna Snow just gets like a Frost Aura kind of thing, or like a Frost Nova
Yep.
that is heals and knocks people up and damages them. And it's those are fun. The Cap one is one of the most fun, where you just get
The shield,
extra ranged attacks.
I
And
almost
I
think-
think Storms is similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish Captain America's shield just was not on a cooldown, and the only thing the cooldown was his shield having to be back in your hand. Like, I just wish I could either do melee with the right click or with the left click, and then with the right click just toss the shield. Like, and as long as shield's out, boom, 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 shield comes back, I catch it and just let me throw it again immediately. But you can't. I just wish I could do that. And I understand they don't want you just, I guess, spamming that as much, but
Especially because it bounces and you can hit more than one person with the shield, right?
yeah. I just want to hit everybody in the face with the shield. That's all I want to do. That's all I should do. I'm Captain America, man. That's what I do.
Just
what he
like a
does.
low reload
That's his thing.
sniper, right? It's when
what he
you're playing
does.
with a gun with a single shot, or a Hawkeye, right? You're loading up your bow. You get that one shot. You got to wait a few seconds to do that next shot.
I've only played him maybe just a couple deaths, I'll say, and probably one match. Like, he's one character I haven't played a lot of.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, I've had a couple matches where he's been kind of annoying, but not so much. But you know who's been, I want to say, like, not annoying at all, and I had a great match with Iron Fist. I think I mentioned to you guys, is Black Widow. Like, I thought she was gonna be constantly in every map, just melting me. Like, I've seen a couple Black Widows,
Kind of forgot about her.
They've done like nothing. And dude, the Iron Fist match I had, it was a Black Widow, a Hawkeye, and I think it was a Bucky. And like, they refused to change. I mean, I thought the Bucky was gonna be like a hindrance to me, but he wasn't. I mean, I was just murdering him. But like, or I'm sorry, KOing him. But I mean, they just didn't want to change. And I got an MVP that match. I had like, 23, 24 kills or whatever it was. Just because I just kept like, okay, I'll go around the side and just jump in your face, bap, 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 down, do it again, just do it again, do it again. And like, the Black Widow and the Hawkeye could do nothing. There was just nothing they could do. It was great. It's awesome. All right. We did mention there is a skin. So I want to throw this up in the stream real quick. The new skin that is coming with the comp playlist. So you can see it up on the screen. This Golden Moon Knight skin. So if you want to get in there and get up to gold, you can get this. You got to be what? What is it? Gold. Is it 1? You got to get up to?
Oh boy,
Just says achieve
Oh,
gold
that's
rank. So
long.
gold
I
3.
think, gold anything.
long climb.
Yep, you can get that. There is also some nameplates you can get, depending on where you are. It'll show you a gold crest of honor if you get in the top 500, which is something that will never happen in my lifetime. Or get into Grandmaster. You can get a special one there as well. So yeah, 2 things that are never going to happen. But, I guess maybe this Golden Moon Knight is a possibility, but probably not for me because I'm just not playing comp enough to to get to that point. But Neil, you're in it, man. You may get
I'm
this.
gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Go for it.
We'll see.
I'd like
the
to
other
try.
part,
Never get in there.
the other part with the rankings is for that tournament that's being set up. In order to sign up for the tournament, you need silver 2 ranking or something
okay.
like that to be considered. So I don't know. They're just throwing me in with bronze 3s so far. I haven't seen anything else, but I'm sure there's people up there. Not there yet.
I saw. So actually, I think Marvel Rivals Guides, the YouTuber there, he put up a tweet earlier saying that he reached Diamond and solo queued the whole way.
Wow.
He said so.
Well, of course.
It's
More power to
possible.
you.
It's possible. And he said he basically just backfilled. I think he just had played whatever was needed and made his way up there. So it's possible, but it took him 5 days, I guess, to get there. But
Get him in my games.
yeah, I know.
Well, the other thing was
Team up.
about that. When you get to Diamond, they have bans on heroes. Apparently,
That's cool.
I've heard. So
So people can't
Iron-
play
Iron
any
Fist.
hero they want at
Yeah,
any time.
people were immediately banning Iron Fist.
I assume. I don't know.
But what if? But that throws out the mindset of the devs of play any hero you want anytime. You're gonna ban my hero? What? I don't know.
Well, that to promote diversity in
Of
your
course,
teams,
yeah. No, I get it.
right? Because if you're seeing the same team when you're at the top, it's not that fun. You want to see 10 different heroes playing.
Right. All right. Well, guys, send us your thoughts. However you follow us, let us know your thoughts on the game. Maybe we can get those read up on the air next episode. Of course, email us, rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. Now, this week we are not doing a Cerebro Files like we mentioned, our lore segment. We are not doing that this week because, of course, we went a little long here, just giving our impressions kind of overall for the game. But next week, we are talking about my new favorites, Cloak and Dagger, who... I think they actually came up on the podcast a couple weeks ago when we did our lore segment on Moon Knight. And I remember mentioning, like, I always just kind of confused him, like, in that same universe, kind of with Cloak and Dagger. But this week, I've been reading the original 4-issue miniseries from, I think it was 82 or 83. Yeah. And I recommend it. It's up on Marvel Unlimited. It's pretty cool. It's actually interesting. I did not know really the origin of these characters. I kind of knew their abilities, but never knew much about them. And it's been an interesting read. I mean, it's very 80s Marvel, like early 80s Marvel, but it's good. It's good. So definitely go check that out. Awesome. Let's wrap it up here with our segment where we get you involved with the show and our email segment, contact segment that we call What Ifs. All right. Well, like I said, email the show, rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com, or hit us up on any of our social network avenues, as well as even like the YouTube videos. If you want to leave a comment over there, leave it there. We do see all those. And the first one we're going to mention here, this actually comes to us over on Spotify. And this one comes to us from, I'm going to say his name right this time, Karma. So last time it's spelled KA7M6, but it's actually Karma. And he says, now that the game is out, do you guys think that if you had to rate the game, would you rate it a 10 out of 10? What do you guys think? Are you giving Rivals a 10?
Neil, you go first.
Yeah, I'll give it a 10. I'm having a great time. I have nothing really to complain about it. The launch went well. The graphics, the sound, this is a full release. I'm still learning, still enjoying it, so I'll give it that 10.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for me, I mean, my scale is always kind of weird in how I'm rating games. I'm looking more at just the fun factor, and I will probably say this is probably the most fun I've had in a video game in the year of 2024, probably so far. Mm-hmm. And that's not even here in the full launch. Like, this is going back to alpha, beta, just like the minute I played the alpha, I was like, this is the game that I know I'm going to have the most fun with, the one I'm most looking forward to here to come out this year, because we knew it was coming out. Well, we didn't know for a while that it was coming out at the end of this year, but just looking at all the games I played this year, I mean, I even played like Metaphor, which is just an incredible story, the game for that. Played the new Zelda.
Astrobot? You said that one was
okay. Maybe, well, all right. You got me. Astrobot's incredible, but for a different reason. Like, Astrobot is a one and done, even though now they're putting out a free expansion and they keep putting out levels, which is amazing in itself. But, nice. So okay. I give them both a 10 out of 10. They're both a 10 out of 10. I'm doing it. They're both a 10 out of 10 in my book.
Do that. The rating games is tough for me. To say what is a 10 out of 10 is such a subjective thing. I don't, if I think of like, all right, let me, and I do like to rate games that I play for kind of like what would be my personal ranking of them. And I think about other games that I've rated a 10. And I don't think that it compares to them. However, just because of what it is and the stage of life that I'm in and the type of games that I play, which is not a lot of games like this. And however, I think about how Overwatch won Game of the Year.
It did. That's right.
Game Awards.
Wow, really?
Game Awards are going on
happening right now.
Actually, literally happening right this second. So that was 2017 Game Awards or whatever that next year was. Or maybe I guess it might have been 2016. Won Game of the Year. And so I do think that I'm having just as much fun in Marvel Rivals as I was with Overwatch 1. Yeah. So I probably won't give it a number, but take that as you will.
Nice. Yeah. So I think overall we're digging the game for sure, and I know if you're listening to this, you're enjoying the game as well. Let's see, we got one more. This comes to us over on Twitter, and this is from Deity503, and he gave a hot take. He says, hot take. And this is we already kind of had this discussion, but we'll throw his thoughts in here. He says, with team-up abilities, roll queue would be impossible. The game won't survive forcing a team comp, then essentially forcing a more specific comp with team-ups. Season 0 would be the same characters every game with no diversity. The only ones screaming for roll lock are DPS, so why don't we just force DPS to have to switch roles every 4th game? You can't pick DPS 4 games in a row. There's a solution if you want roll queue or roll lock. So number one, I don't think they could ever do that, like stop you from picking, 4 games in a row. That's just not going to happen. But he does bring up a good point, and that's one knock is if one of the selling points of this game, and Neil, you love it, is the team-ups. When you then start the roll queue and lock people in, you're then basically also
limiting team ups.
You're either breaking the team ups or forcing team ups, where it's like, hey, if we want this advantage, you have to play this character because we have to have this team up, especially in a game where you have 7 strategists and 7 vanguards and then 20 some odd duelists. That's part of the problem, I think, right there too, is like, Overwatch still kind of has that where they don't have as many healers and as many.
There's always going to be more,
but it's like there's so many more duelists than you have in those other queues that it limits it. But I think that's a great point, man. The team ups really changes things.
I feel that's kind of like a roll queue, not really, but I you don't want to limit. And then do they just start doing team ups that make sense for whatever role queue they pick, right? You don't want that to happen because you like having the triple duelist team ups. What is it? Magic, Black Panther, Psylocke, right? Having stuff like that is fun. You can roll around and do that if you want. The other thing is maybe roll queue only in competitive. That's the thing too. Like it doesn't have to be always. But I think we already talked about this a little bit earlier of how they can do that. But it doesn't make sense because of the team ups to further limit yourself to what team ups you can do by implementing roll queue, and also on the other side that would limit the team ups they can create too.
Yeah.
So I think we go with the team ups. The best players and best teams will find the super strong team ups of the season, and that might be the meta for that season. But I think that's another good reason why they're going to do new team ups each season. That's going to kind of change the meta up a little bit.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting too, because like Overwatch does that. Like when a new hero comes out, or at least they did in like the Overwatch League, and I think they still even do it now in their whatever they call it now, kind of the competitive scene. Like right now they just had Hazard came out. I don't think he's going to be in a tournament for a while. Like a lot of times a new hero comes out, they're not. How are they going to handle these team ups and seasonal buffs and all that stuff? Like, is it like if there's a tournament, let's say week 3 of season 1, and it's an official NetEase run tournament, is all that stuff active in there? Or your pro players, are they going to roll it back and go to, hey, you've been practicing? Like, I don't know.
I think
it's just a weird way to handle it.
That's how they do it in Halo. Like if there's like a balance patch or whatever, and they're in the middle of like the current season of HCS or whatever they're doing, that they keep it on that, at least until like one of the series happens, and then they start practicing on the new patch for the next event.
I guess that makes sense if it's season based, or like if you're having a season, all right, this team plays this team, then you play this team, and it happens over a season, then it makes sense for everybody to be playing the same rules when they're playing the other teams to do your seeding to see where you're going to end up in a tournament. If it's just a tournament over a weekend or something, use the latest thing. A good player would be able to adapt, and strategists and stuff to figure it out, and that could be fun. Big changes right on the door of like the world tournament. Let's see who comes
Who's
out on
really
top.
good? Yeah.
You might have been good last week once you figured it all out, but we just turned it around. It's on its head now. Let's see
Yep.
who's got the flexibility to come out on top.
Yeah. So I think that'll be kind of interesting to see kind of how they handle that, and then how that pro scene kind of plays out. Because we're having a tournament this weekend, which I'm really interested in checking out, and we'll probably be talking about it next week for sure. To kind of get some updates on that and just kind of see who rises to the top in that tournament. But I'm interested kind of moving forward how that's going to play into even people wanting to become a pro player in this game. Those who are like your HCS players on teams like Optic and all those teams. Like, are we going to see them develop teams within Rivals? And then, how do they handle all that? It's going to just be kind of interesting. But thanks for the questions, or question, Deity, man. Really, really cool hot take, man, on that. But again, if you want to be a part of the show, reach out to us on whatever platform you follow us on, because we're getting all comments there. Or you, of course, can email us, rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. Well, guys, let's wrap it up there. Unfortunately, Matt, I think, was unable to join us here tonight. So he will be here next week. And we'll be, of course, catching up with him, kind of getting his thoughts on the game. And I'm sure there's going to be some good stuff coming out. I'm really interested to see, I think, now that the game is out, how often we're going to get some news bits from them. And, of course, the podcast always shifts whenever a game comes out. I mean, this happened to me back when we did Guardian Radio with Destiny. It was like, we always had the build-up, and here's all the excitement. And then once the game's out there, then it's like, okay, now the show kind of transitions a little bit to, okay, we're talking about the game itself. So we'll see kind of how it all moves forward. But, of course, we're still going to keep the lore segment and all that within the show, because that's really kind of part of the big part of the show that we want to do, too, is we're all Marvel fans. So we're talking about that here on the podcast. Real quick, before we give out the final stuff here, any final thoughts on the game or any advice to players out there you guys want to throw out?
Stay positive. It's a video game. Enjoy it. And don't be like the Jeff that Mark and I had on our team the other day.
God.
Ate the both of us, threw us off the edge. Actually, and himself. No enemies in anywhere.
I don't
Just
think
half
he
our
understood
team
the
off the
UI
edge.
that the two little heroes, because it shows you, here's your teammates you ate, and here's the enemies that you ate. I did think he just saw two people.
He's like, I got somebody. Come off.
Me and Neil just sat there. We're like, what is he doing? Right over the edge, dead. Like, dude. Oh, terrible.
See, but it's fun. So,
Yeah,
that's
we
a
just
good
laughed.
thing.
thank you,
Be
Jeff.
positive.
but
Be nice.
Maybe next time, at least get one of the enemies too.
It's so funny. But yeah, of course, again, email us rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com, and whatever podcast service you're listening to us on, be sure to subscribe. And if you can, leave us a review over there. It helps move us up the rankings, the podcast rankings. We love that. And of course, if you want to tune in live to the show, you can find us on twitch.tv or on YouTube at Rivals Assemble Pod. And the archive of the live recording of this, you want to see our lovely mugs and see whatever we're showing on the screen, you can see that in there in the live archive of that. So everybody here, thank you as always for tuning into the show. And until next time, we'll catch you later. Peace. All right. Got the stream still going, but it killed the audio. Good show, guys. That's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how long we went, but
An hour,
hour and a half?
37. Yeah, hour and a half.
Ooh.
I think that's
Sure,
kind of the
kinda
max for
normal.
this. I don't really want to ever really push it
Yeah,
much further
that's
than that.
solid.
I think that's like a good, good car ride to and
but-
from work. You're
flew
working
back.
out.
For just three of us with less of a structured show, it really, we really did it.
I'm telling you, man, the crew of this show, like that's how it was with Guardian Radio. It was like we could literally talk about anything. Give us like I always say, a styrofoam cup,
a
and we'll
prompt.
talk about it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Let's go. We can do it. So, guys in the chat, thank you for tuning in. I saw we had a bunch of viewers kind of throughout that. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. But we're going to log off here, and then I think we'll be back here just in a little bit, and I will get a stream up going, and we'll play.
Nice.
And get in there.
We
and,
probably hyped them all up. They went to start.
Yeah, they
playing
were all
too.
probably playing.
Like, oh yeah, this game is great. It is a 10 out of 10. I need to go play right now.
It is
Sorry,
a lot
guys.
of fun. But all right, stream. We will be back here in just a little